I'm 19 now, but last year on my 18th birthday, my stepdad just vanished. Not like left a note vanished. I mean full-on ghosted, bags gone, phone off, bank account wiped clean, no goodbye, no warning, just gone. My mom was shattered. I was angry. He'd raised me since I was 5, taught me how to ride a bike, came to my softball games, gave me advice when my first boyfriend dumped me. And then one morning, I woke up to balloons, pancakes, and silence. He left before I even came down the stairs. At first, we thought maybe he got cold feet about parenting a legal adult or something. My birthday had been emotional already, since my real dad passed away when I was a baby and we always lit a candle for him on my cake. But after 2 days of nothing, we knew something was really wrong. The cops got involved, but there wasn't much they could do. He was an adult, and there was no sign of foul play. We found out later he'd cleaned out his half of the joint account that morning, turned in his work phone, and even left his wedding ring on the dashboard of his car, parked at the edge of a state forest an hour away. He left no trace. I didn't tell many people what happened. My mom just said we separated and asked for privacy. But the truth stuck in my throat like a splinter. No one abandons a family like that for no reason, especially not someone like him. He was the reliable one. Always 5 minutes early. Always calm, always present. So why did he vanish the moment I became an adult? And why did he show up yesterday, acting like nothing happened? Yesterday afternoon, I came home from my shift at the bookstore and there he was, standing on our porch like he never left. Same denim jacket, same watch I gave him when I was 13. I froze. He didn't look surprised to see me, he just smiled and said my name like it was the most normal thing in the world. My knees nearly buckled. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't hug him. I just stood there, waiting for the universe to make it make sense. My mom wasn't home, she was at her sister's 3 towns over. So it was just me, him, and all the questions I'd been collecting for a year. He asked if we could talk. At first, I thought maybe he was sick or in trouble or had been kidnapped and finally escaped or something insane like that. But he looked healthy. No bruises, no signs of struggle. He even had a coffee in his hand like he just drove back from a grocery run. When I didn't answer, he said something that made my skin crawl. I figured you already knew. I blinked. What was I supposed to know? He stared at me like he was waiting for a reaction. When I didn't give him one, he shook his head a little and muttered, "Guess she never told you." I asked him who she was, but he didn't answer. Instead, he asked if he could come inside, just for a bit. I said no. I don't know why, but I needed to keep him out. Maybe because this wasn't a reunion. It felt like an ambush. Like he was testing me, trying to see what I'd found out during the year he was gone. But I didn't even know what I was supposed to be looking for. Then he looked me dead in the eye and said something that made my heart pound so hard I thought it would burst. "You need to ask your mother about the real reason I left. About what she did the night before your birthday." I haven't slept since. I barely remember what I said after that. I think I told him to leave. Maybe I slammed the door, I don't know. My hands were shaking too hard to unlock my phone for the rest of the night. I just sat on my bed staring at the wall, replaying his words again and again. "Ask your mother what she did the night before your birthday." I tried to think back. The night before I turned 18, nothing stood out. We had dinner at home, spaghetti, my favorite. My mom was quiet, but I thought she was just tired. She went to bed early. I stayed up late texting my friends and watching dumb TikToks. That was it. At least, I thought it was. But now, with his words circling in my head, I started second-guessing everything. The way my mom hugged me that night, tighter than usual. The weird glance she gave my stepdad when I mentioned how happy I was that we were all together. The fact that I never saw either of them after midnight. This morning, I finally worked up the nerve to call her. She was still at Aunt Carla's. I kept it casual at first, asked when she'd be home, if she needed anything. Then I said the words that had been burning a hole in my chest since yesterday. He came back. There was silence. Like, complete silence. I thought the call dropped. Then she whispered, "What?" I told her. He showed up at the house yesterday, said he thought I knew something. Said I should ask her about the night before my birthday. The change in her voice was instant. She told me to pack a bag and come stay with her immediately. No explanation. No questions for me, just leave the house. Now. I asked her what was going on, and she snapped. Her voice, usually calm and soft, cracked like a whip. She said something I'll never forget. "You were never supposed to see him again." Now I'm sitting in my car outside a gas station with my hands shaking on the steering wheel, wondering if I even know my own mother. I didn't go to her house. I know I should've. I know driving around town aimlessly isn't smart, but the way her voice changed on that call, it chilled me. Like I'd triggered something. Like she was more afraid of me talking to him than she was of him coming back at all. So instead, I parked in the lot behind my old high school and sat there until my phone died. When I finally drove home that night, her car was already in the driveway. I almost kept going. But I needed answers. Not from her. Not yet. I went straight into the house, locked the door behind me, and went up to the attic. My stepdad had boxes up there he never unpacked, stuff from before he met my mom. Things I never touched because they weren't mine. I don't know what I was looking for. Just something that would explain why a man I loved like a father walked out of my life on the day I became an adult, and why my mom, the woman who raised me, was suddenly acting like she had something to hide. I found the box. Inside were old papers, receipts, photos, and a small black notebook wrapped in plastic. It didn't look like much. I opened it. The first few pages were boring, lists of to-dos, passwords, car maintenance notes. But tucked in the middle was a photo that knocked the breath out of me. It was a picture of my mom. Not recent. Not even from when she met my stepdad. It looked older, grainy, like it had been taken on a disposable camera. She was holding a baby. A baby that wasn't me. My heart started racing. The back of the photo had writing in red ink. April 2002, she said it wasn't mine. I was born in October 2005. That photo was 3 years too early, and yet, the woman in it was undeniably my mother. Suddenly, everything felt warped. Who was the baby? Who wrote that note? And why did my stepdad keep it hidden in the attic? I put everything back except the notebook, slid it under my hoodie, and crept back to my room. She hasn't knocked. She hasn't said a word. But I can hear her downstairs, pacing. She knows I'm back. And now, I know something too. I barely slept. Every floorboard creaked like a scream. Every car that passed the house made me flinch. I kept that notebook under my pillow like it was some kind of shield, even though it only raised more questions. Around 6 a.m., I heard my mom's car start and pull out of the driveway. She didn't say a word to me. Didn't check if I was okay. Just left. The second I heard the engine fade, I got up. Something about that picture, about the date, kept scratching at my brain. I knew the baby couldn't be me. But what haunted me most was the look on her face in the photo. It wasn't happy. She wasn't smiling. She looked terrified. Or maybe guilty. It was hard to tell. I opened the notebook again and flipped through the pages more carefully this time. Near the back was a single sheet, folded up so many times it was soft at the edges. A hospital discharge paper. Not mine. Not hers. The name on it stopped my breath cold. Gabriel Wayne Morgan. Born April 21, 2002. Mother, Sarah Morgan. Father, unknown. Morgan was her maiden name. There was no father listed. No next of kin. Just that name, a birth date, and a hospital I didn't recognize, somewhere 3 towns over. And then the weirdest part. At the very bottom of the page, written in my stepdad's messy scrawl, he was supposed to be adopted. She said it was closed. She lied. I felt like the floor was tilting. Who was Gabriel? Why did my mom lie about him? And why did my stepdad think I knew? I don't know what possessed me, but I grabbed my laptop and searched the name. And there it was. One news article. Dated 7 months ago. A local teenager, Gabriel Wayne, 18, was reported missing after a foster home dispute. Last seen leaving school in a dark hoodie and backpack. Authorities say he may have tried to reconnect with his biological family, though no records were released due to sealed adoption documents. My mouth went dry. I read it again. Then again. 18. Same age as me. Born 3 years before me. Disappeared a few months after my birthday. And suddenly I understood something awful. My stepdad didn't leave me. He went looking for someone else, someone my mother had hidden. I don't know how long I sat there. The article was short, just a paragraph or two. But I couldn't stop staring at the name. Gabriel Wayne. There wasn't a photo. No leads. Just the barest details, like he was already slipping out of the world and nobody noticed. Nobody except maybe me, and my stepdad. Because now it made sense, didn't it? The way he looked at me that day on the porch. Like I had answers. Like I was in on the secret. I wasn't. Not until now. But someone had been. My mother. I didn't want to believe it. But when I looked back at that photo, the one of her holding a baby who wasn't me, I saw it clear as day. There was no way she just forgot to mention she had a son before me. This wasn't something you misplace in your memory. This was something you bury. I wanted to scream. To call her and demand the truth. But something told me not to. Not yet. Instead, I searched every drawer, every box in the house. I don't even know what I was looking for. Proof, maybe. A letter. An old ID. Something real. Something that said yes, this happened, and here's why. What I found was worse. In a locked file cabinet in my mom's closet, one I'd never even noticed before, I found a manila envelope labeled in handwriting that wasn't hers. Inside were 5 printed emails, all from the same sender, G. Morgan 21 at hostmail.com. The subject lines told me everything I needed to know. Asterisk, please respond. I think I found you. Asterisk, are you my mother? Asterisk, I don't want anything, I just need to know. Asterisk, I'm not mad. I just need the truth. Asterisk, please. Just once. They were dated from February to April, right before my birthday. Right before my stepdad disappeared. And the last one was different. It had no message, just an attachment. A selfie of a teenage boy, standing in front of a building that looked familiar. It took me a second, but I realized it was taken in front of the old church where my parents got married. He'd been here. Gabriel had come looking for her. And my mom never said a word. I stared at that photo until my eyes blurred. The boy in it looked normal. Hoodie, backpack, headphones around his neck. He could have passed for any guy in my chem class last year. Except he wasn't just some random teenager. He was my brother. The half-brother I never knew existed. The one my mom gave away. The one who came looking for her, and maybe never left. And my stepdad, he knew. That had to be what broke them. I sat on the edge of her bed, phone in hand, hands numb. For a moment, I thought maybe I should call the police. Report something. But what would I even say? That I found a few old emails from a missing kid, and that I think my mom might have lied about giving birth to him? It wasn't proof. Not of anything criminal. Just secrets. My mom came home around 9 p.m. I heard the door open. Her keys hit the kitchen counter like always. And then she called my name. Her voice was normal. Too normal. I didn't answer. I stayed in her room, door cracked just slightly. She walked past without noticing. Straight to her bedroom. No knock. No mention of where she'd been. She didn't even check to see if I was still in the house. I waited a full 5 minutes before sneaking back downstairs. And I'm glad I did. Because when I reached the landing, I heard her on the phone. Her voice was low, urgent. I don't know what she saw, but I think she found something. No, I don't think she knows about him. I just need you to be ready in case she starts asking questions. Then a pause. And then she said it. No one else can know what happened to Gabriel. My heart stopped. She knew. Not just about him. About what happened to him. And suddenly, the room felt too small. The walls too thin. Whatever truth I thought I was ready for, I wasn't. Because this wasn't just a secret. It sounded like a cover-up. I pressed my back against the wall, barely breathing. No one else can know what happened to Gabriel. I didn't need a full confession. That sentence alone cracked everything wide open. I waited until she hung up, heard the floor creak as she walked back to her room, then the soft click of her door shutting. I didn't dare move. I just stood there in the dark, shaking, every nerve in my body screaming at me to get out. But I didn't. Not yet. I went back upstairs, this time to the guest room, my stepdad's old office before he left. Everything had been boxed up months ago, but I remembered something. There was a locked drawer in his desk he never opened. Not once. I only knew about it because I'd tried to sneak gum from there when I was 12. He caught me and said, that drawer's off limits. I thought it was just where he kept boring tax stuff. But now? I wasn't so sure. I got a flathead screwdriver from the kitchen and jimmied it open. Inside, there were only 3 things. A flash drive. A folded sheet of paper with a list of names and dates. And a photo ID, Gabriel's. The ID was recent. Probably the one he used before he vanished. But what sent my heart into my throat wasn't the picture. It was the address on the back. An old trailer park. Out by the edge of town. My town doesn't have many places like that. Just a handful of rundown lots past the train tracks where rent's cheap and no one asks questions. It wasn't a place anyone wanted to be. Especially not a kid. I grabbed the flash drive and the paper and shoved them into my hoodie pocket, then tucked the ID into my sock just in case. My mom was still quiet downstairs. Too quiet. I told myself I'd wait until morning. Think it over. Make a plan. But I couldn't. Because if Gabriel had really lived there, if he'd tried to reach out, and if something happened to him like that call hinted, then waiting wasn't an option. So I grabbed my keys and left. I didn't even lock the door behind me. The trailer park was dead quiet when I got there. A handful of porch lights glowed through the dark, flickering like they'd been dying for years. The gravel crunched under my tires as I crept past rows of rusted mailboxes and faded lot numbers. Most of the trailers looked abandoned. One had a broken window patched with duct tape. Another had a sagging roof and no door. I parked near the edge, right next to lot number 27, the address on Gabriel's ID. The trailer itself was small. White, but stained yellow with time and weather. The blinds were closed, but one was bent upward, like someone had peeked out and never bothered to fix it. I didn't expect anyone to answer, but I knocked anyway. No sound. No light. Just the hollow echo of my hand on the metal door. I tried again. Still nothing. I don't know what made me do it, maybe adrenaline, maybe something worse, but I reached under the mat. Just in case. There was a key. I know how it sounds. Dumb. Dangerous. But at that point, I wasn't thinking like a normal person. I was thinking like someone who'd just learned her entire life had been built on a lie. So I opened the door. It creaked like something out of a horror movie. The air inside was stale, moldy, heavy, like no one had been there in months. But everything was still in place. A jacket on a chair. A half-used tube of toothpaste by the sink. A cereal box on the counter, expired in April. It looked like someone had just left. I stepped inside slowly, my phone light flickering over the walls. There were drawings pinned to the fridge. Sketches, actually. Good ones. Faces, mostly. One of a woman who looked so much like my mother it made me stop breathing. Then I saw it. Taped to the wall by the mattress. A photo of me. One of my senior yearbook pictures. Cropped, blown up, a little blurry, but still me. And scrawled across the bottom in black marker, "She looks like me." I turned around to leave, heart pounding, legs numb, and nearly screamed. Because someone had written one more thing on the back of the door, etched deep into the wood with something sharp. He found out. I don't know who wrote it, but I think I know what they meant. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't go home either. I drove straight to a 24-hour diner, ordered a coffee I couldn't drink, and sat in the corner booth with my hoodie up, trying to keep my hands from shaking. The flash drive was still in my pocket, but I hadn't looked at it yet. I couldn't. Not until I had the full picture. But I had enough. Gabriel had lived in that trailer. He'd found out who my mom was. He'd come here, looking for her, and she never told anyone. Not me. Not the police. Not even my stepdad, at least not at first. But eventually, he found out. He found out. That was what the message on the door meant. Maybe Gabriel confronted them. Maybe there was a fight. Maybe it scared her. I don't know. But what I do know, what I can't stop thinking about, is how my stepdad left the very next day. How he vanished without warning. How he showed up a year later with haunted eyes and that awful question. "I figured you already knew." He thought I'd pieced it together. Thought my mom had told me about Gabriel, about what happened. But she hadn't. She'd buried it all, locked it in a drawer, and hoped no one would come looking. She never expected Gabriel to come back. And she never expected him to go missing again. Because that's what I think happened. I don't think Gabriel ran away from his foster home. I think he came here. I think he found us. And then he disappeared, for good. And I think my mom knows exactly why. The next morning, I met with my stepdad. He was staying in a motel 3 towns over. Looked older, worn out. But when I showed him Gabriel's ID, he didn't look shocked. He looked relieved. Like someone who'd finally been believed. We sat in silence for a while before he finally said, "I tried to protect you. From all of it. But your mom wouldn't tell the truth." Then he gave me the last piece of the puzzle. The flash drive. It wasn't his. It was Gabriel's. My stepdad found it the night Gabriel showed up. Gabriel had left it behind, hidden, taped under the back porch. Maybe in case something happened. Maybe he sensed he wouldn't be safe. It had audio files, video clips, notes. All of it told the same story. A boy who spent his life searching for answers about why he was abandoned, only to finally find the truth and be erased all over again. We brought everything to the police that afternoon. My stepdad gave a full statement. They reopened the missing persons case. They're looking into it, whatever that means. As for my mom, she hasn't come home since I left. She must know. There's been no call. No message. No apology. I don't know where she went. But for the first time, I'm not scared of finding out. I want the truth. All of it. Because I had a brother. His name was Gabriel Wayne Morgan. He deserved better. And now? I'll make sure the world knows what happened to him. No more lies. No more secrets. No more silence.